Hey, what's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Right now, we're going to take a look at the greatest African-American fighters of all times. I've been waiting on this series. A lot of fighters have been left out of boxing conversations, and I feel it's my obligation to bring them to light. So I'm going to show you a lot of fighters you've never seen before. So let's have a little fun and take a look at some of the greatest African-American fighters of all time. Kid Gavilan, welterweight champion, defeated Johnny Bratton, who was the NBA championship title holder at the time. Sugar Ray Robinson and Tommy Bell fought for that crown in 1946. Marty Servil had relinquished that title. He made it available, so Sugar Ray Robinson and Tommy Bell fought for the title in 46. Robinson defeated Tommy Bell. In 1951, Robinson relinquished the title because he wanted to go up and challenge Jake LaMotta for the middleweight championship. Kid Gavilan fought Johnny Bratton. Kid Gavilan became welterweight champion of the world. Then he lost the title to Johnny Saxton. Here you have Georgie Pace, outstanding bantamweight champion. 1937, 1938, 39, I believe, 1940. Somewhere in those years. Young Jack Thompson, outstanding welterweight champion. Ike Williams, dynamite puncher from Trenton. He fought Bob Montgomery and Bo Jack and had dynamite fights with them. Fought guys like Chuck Davey, bigger fighters than him. So he's a great fighter, great lightweight fighter. Archie Moore, 10-year reign. Took the title away from Joey Maxim. Fought all the Murderous Row fighters. Fought Harold Johnson numerous times. Outstanding light heavyweight, I have him number 6 on my all-time fighters list. And number 1, the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. Ezzard Charles, dynamite fighter. 51, he lost the title to Jersey Joe Walcott. Got caught with a left hook, and that was the end of Ezzard Charles. I have him one of the best middleweights of all time, dynamite light heavyweight, and he was a heavyweight champion. He was solidified when he fought Joe Louis because he held the NBA heavyweight version of the title, but when he fought Joe Louis, that solidified him. Tiger Flowers, outstanding middleweight champion, the Georgia Deacon, took the title away from Harry Greb. Then he lost it to Mickey Walker. Took it from Harry Greb in 1926. Kid Chocolate, the Cuban Bong Bong, we just talked about him. Phenomenal featherweight champion. Now let's just look at some of these names here. Heavyweight, Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, Ezzard Charles, Jersey Joe Walcott. Now let's just back up a little bit. Jack Johnson took the title from Tommy Burns and lost the title to Jess Willard. Joe Louis took the title from Jimmy Braddock. And he didn't lose the title from Ezzard Charles, but he basically was still a lineal champion, but he retired. You know, he gave the belt up. So he never got it back again. Ezzard Charles. Ezzard Charles was the NBA heavyweight champion. He solidified it when he fought Joe Louis. He lost it to Jersey Joe Walcott, 1951. Jersey Joe Walcott took the title from Ezzard Charles, and he lost it, unfortunately, to Rocky Marciano. Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson fought Archie Moore for the title that was gave up by Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano had retired, so that belt was up for grabs. So Floyd Patterson and Archie Moore fought for that title, and Floyd Patterson wound up winning the championship. But unfortunately, he lost the title to Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston, they called the Ugly Bear, one of the most ferocious heavyweights of all time. Took the title from Floyd Patterson and lost it to Cassius Clay, a.k.a. Muhammad Ali. Light heavyweights. Badlin Siki took the title away from George Compantier and lost it to Mike McTeague, John Henry Lewis took the title from Bob Olin. Phenomenal fighter was John Henry Lewis. Was champion in 1938. Great fighter. Archie Moore. Archie Moore took the title away from Joey Maxim. And Harold Johnson become light heavyweight champion after Archie Moore. Jose Torres lost the title away from Willie Pastrana. And then he took the title away from, I don't know if it was Dick Tiger. I got to look again. But he was a great Puerto Rican fighter. Here we got Dick Tiger. Lost the title from Bob Foster. He lost it to Bob Foster. Bob Foster was a dynamite puncher from Texas. Wound up becoming a cop when he was done. But one of the greatest punchers of all time in the light heavyweight division was Bob Foster. Middleweight, Tiger Flowers. Like I said, he took the title away from Harry Greb. He lost it to Mickey Walker. Gorilla Jones. William Gorilla Jones. We just talked about him the other day. Very good middleweight champion. Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson was a 5-time middleweight champion, 1-time welterweight champion. Took the title away from Tommy Bell, 1946. Then he went on and fought 1951 before Jake LaMotta. He fought Bobo Olsen, Gene Foreman, Carmen Basilio, Randy Turpin. He went up to try to gain the light heavyweight championship from Joey Maxim, 52. Phenomenal fighter. Randy Turpin took the title away from Sugar Ray Robinson, and then he lost it. Then he had another opportunity against Carl Bobo Olsen and came up short. Dick Tiger, phenomenal fighter. Emil Griffith was a 5-time champion. Unfortunately, he had an incident with a fighter, and I hate to talk about it, but it is what it is. Benny Kid Perrette. 3-fight series, killed him in the ring. Welterweight champions. Original Joe Walcott, the Barbados Demon. Phenomenal welterweight. Fought them all. Joe Gans, Sam Langford. He fought all of them at that time. Tommy West, all of them. Dixie Kid, phenomenal fighter. Great welterweight champion. Young Jack Thompson. Lost the title to Jackie Fields. Jackie Fields lost the title to Young Corbett III. He lost it to Jimmy McLaurin. And he lost it to Barney Ross. He lost it to Hammer and Henry Armstrong. He lost it to Fitzy Zivic, and on and on. So Henry Armstrong was an outstanding fighter. 3-time champion. Featherweight, Petey Sarin, 1946. Welterweight, Barney Ross. Went down to lightweight. Challenged Lou Ambers, and even went up to middleweight and fought Seferino Garcia, who he already defeated, for the middleweight title. And it was a wound up being a 10-round draw. A robbery of the century. Excuse my focus here. Kid Gavilan. Known for the bolo punch. Great Cuban heavy welterweight champion. Johnny Bratton. Had the NBA strap. He fought Kid Gavilan. And that's how Kid Gavilan wound up becoming champion. But then he fought Johnny Saxton. And Johnny Saxton defeated Johnny Bratton. Wow, this was going around and around and around. So the lineal kept on stopping because everyone was relinquishing their titles. Virgil Akins, he wound up becoming the champion when he fought Vince Martinez in an elimination match. And then he had to fight Don Jordan. And Don Jordan wound up knocking out Virgil Akins, or defeated him real bad, and wound up becoming the champion. Benny Kid Perrette. Outstanding fighter. As I said, he fought Emil Griffith 3 times, and unfortunately, he died in the ring, but he was a very good Cuban fighter. Emil Griffith, Luis Rodriguez, Curtis Coates, Jose Napoles from Mexico, and Don Jordan. Lightweights, Joe Gans. I have him just real close to Benny Leonard as the greatest lightweights of all time. Bo Jack, my best lightweight champion. Headlined the Madison Square Garden for 10 straight times. Had wars with Bob Montgomery and Ike Williams, phenomenal fighter. Bob Montgomery, great Philadelphia lightweight. Ike Williams from Trenton, New Jersey, dynamite fighter. Fought Chuck Davey. Bob Montgomery. Bo Jack, fought them all. Wallace Bud Smith, great fighter. Fought Joe Brown. Joe Brown, beautiful, outstanding fighter. Louisiana, Baton Rouge. Jimmy Carter took the title away from Ike Williams. He was a 3-time lightweight champion. Ishmael Laguna, Dio Cruz, outstanding fighters. Featherweight, George Dixon. Pittsburgh, Jackie Bird. There was Jackie Wilson. There was a couple of Jackie Wilsons. Kid Chocolate. He was a Cuban bonbon. Henry Armstrong. Now you can see Henry Armstrong's been mentioned 3 different times because he was the 3-time champion. 3-division champion. Chalky Wright. Outstanding fighter. Sandy Sadler. Had his wars with Willie Pep. Hogan Kid Bassi. Outstanding Nigeria featherweight champion. Davey Moore. Davey Moore unfortunately died in the ring. Sugar Ramos from Cuba. Bantamweights, George Dixon, perhaps the best. Panama Al Brown. Harold Dad. Georgie Pace. Lionel Rose from Australia. Phenomenal fighters. Flyweights, there were none. Junior lightweights, Kid Chocolate. Junior welterweight, Eddie Perkins. Great fighters. The greatest Negro fighters of all time from 1890 to 1925. This is what they have. Joe Gans, Jack Johnson, Sam Langford, George Dixon, the original Joe Walcott, Peter Jackson, Harry Wills, Dixie Kid, Joe Jeanette, Jack Blackburn. I would like to get Sam McVeigh in there as well. Martyr, 1925 to present. Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, Henry Armstrong, Cassius Clay, a.k.a. Muhammad Ali, Kid Chocolate, Ike Williams, Ezra Charles, Emil Griffith, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson. Very, very good names. Honorable mention, Bobby Dobbs. There we go, Sam McVeigh. I want to put all of these guys in there. Kid Norfolk from Panama, Joe Gans, Archie Moore. I'm surprised Archie Moore is not in there. Lloyd Marshall, great murderous road fighter. Sandy Sadler, Charlie Burley. Great list. Phenomenal list. Here you have Johnny Bratton. We talked about him. Emil Griffiths. We talked about him. You got Joe Brown from Louisiana. Outstanding lightweight. Lost the title to Carlos Ortiz. Johnny Saxton. Had his wars with Carmen Basilio. Sonny Liston. Charles Sonny Liston. Fought Muhammad Ali and he quit in the 7th round in the first fight. The second fight, there was a phantom punch thrown in the first fight, and that's still talked about today. Floyd Patterson, the only 2-time heavyweight champion at that time, was knocked out by Sonny Liston. But he lost the title to Ingmar Johansson and knocked Ingmar Johansson out and then got knocked out himself with Sonny Liston. Gorilla Jones. Gorilla Jones was outstanding middleweight. William Gorilla Jones was his name, and John Henry Lewis. He went blind. They took away his license. But he fought Joe Louis because he needed the bread, and he wound up getting knocked out in 1 round. But he was an outstanding light heavyweight champion. Took the title away from Bob Bowling. Dick Tiger, phenomenal fighter. Was stopped, unfortunately, with a beautiful left hook from Bob Foster. Sandy Sadler had his wars with Willie Pep. Phenomenal fighters. So those are my list of greatest African-American fighters. So let's take a look in the scrapbooks. And we're going to really see some fighters you've never seen before. Let's have some fun. All right, now we are in the African-American book. We're going to go from right to left. Right here we have Ray McEachern, Charlie Burley. Charlie Burley was a murderous road fighter. He fought Holman Williams several times. Ezra Charles. Fought them all. One of the best fighters of all time. Severino Garcia, middleweight champion of the world. Kid Tanner. These are all punches. Joe McLeansky, Seaman Chetty. Jimmy Clark. Jimmy Clark was a middleweight. Harry English, a cruiserweight champion. Sonny Jones. As you can see here, Joe Walcott, welterweight champion of the world. You got Snook Lacey. He was a featherweight. A good contender. Teddy Smith, cruiserweight. Kid Tanner again. Now, Kid Attacker, he had over 150 fights, phenomenal fighter from the Philippines, Pancho Villa. Jimmy White, lightweight. Jack Johnson, Pancho Villa. Here you have Willie Davis, heavyweight. Joe Mendoro, flyweight. Herbie Nurse. Jim Howell, a heavyweight. Now all of these guys, George Brothers, a lot of these guys fought in the 1930s, 1940s. I just want to show you as an overall. And we're going to go on and on and on. Here you have Tiger Jack Fox. Tiger Jack Fox, as far as I know, had a lot of men paid off to take a dive. He was a good fighter, but he was ran with the mob. Here you have Georgie Crouch. Very good fighter. He was a lightweight. As you can see, Henry Armstrong, Jesse Flores. Red Chapman. Lefty Flowers. Jackie Flowers. Look at these fighters. Al Tunney. Leo Flowers. This is Jackie Wilson. Pedro Martinez. I just talked about him today. Alan Matthews. Kid Chocolate. Kid Chocolate, as you know, was a featherweight, and he was a junior lightweight. Here you have Archie Moore. Called him the KO Archie Moore. Honey Boy Jones. Ron Richards. These are some of the fighters he fought. Jack Chase. Balling Monroe. Ozzie Stewart. Kid Vane. Pancho Villa, Jack Johnson. We talked about them. Small Montana. Joe Jeanette. Lefty Satin Flynn. I used to call him Satin Flynn. Now, a lot of these guys here fought guys that we've always talked about. Young Kid Chocolate. You're not going to read about none of these guys in books. Battling Siki. This is Joe Walcott. Panama Al Brown. I just want to show you. Vincent Hernandez. Larry Gans. We talked about him. Let's look and see who he fought. He was ex-Empire champion. Phil Scott. We talked about him the other day. Phil Scott was the #1 contender. Here we have Leroy Haynes, outstanding heavyweight. Jack Hawthorne. Young Chocolate, Lefty Satin Flynn. We just showed him. Here you have Leo Dinkin Kelly. Manuel Hebrew. Joe Wall. James Corbett. This is Joe Gans. Jimmy Smart. Tommy Martin. Got Sam Langford. Jack McVeigh. Obie Walker, outstanding heavyweight. Then he had the colored heavyweight championship. Tommy Jones, Joe Louis, Jackie Redmond. This is Aaron Brown, the Dixie Kid. Tiger Flowers, Kid Tanner, Larry Gans. This is Al Gaynor, Hammer Henry Armstrong. You got Barney Ross in there. All right, so we have Willie Joyce, Jimmy Bivens. Willie Joyce was a phenomenal fighter. Jimmy Bivens, Murderous Row heavyweight. Coco Kid, Murderous Row welterweight. Rene Sanchez, Eddie Ellis. Now, Eddie Ellis was a welterweight. Rene Sanchez was a middleweight. Humberto Kid Espinosa, Cuban flyweight. I'm just showing you guys Cecil Hudson, very good fighter. These are a lot of names that I'm showing you that fought a lot of the champions that I always mention. Jimmy Jackson, Larry Cineris, Oscar Kales, Warren Peterson, Lefty Flynn, Kid Calf, Leo Torres, Soldier Montana, Young Shadow. So when you hear these names, you now know what they look like. Herbert Marshall, Henry Smith, Lloyd Gibbons, Young Finnan, Bobby Root, Emmanuel James. All African American fighters that don't get any shine. This is Cleveland Jackie Wilson. There were two different Jackie Wilsons. Sugar Ray Robinson. Pedro Hernandez. Charlie Parham. This is Booker Beckwith. As you can see, Booker Beckwith. Very, very good heavyweight. At the time when you had fighters like Turkey Thompson, Buddy Knox, Ezra Charles. I'm going to show you a fighter that you're not going to find in any book at all. Not going to happen. Guaranteed. I'm going to show you to you real quick. So you got to look fast. Bob Montgomery, Sugar Ray Robinson. Luther Slugger White, fantastic fighter. Jack Chase. Jack Chase was a dynamite puncher. Johnny Rivers, as you can see here. Ozzie Bulldog Harris, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Billy Morris, Bo Jack, Archie Moore, Babyface Robinson, Bobby Yeager, who's a welterweight. Jack Trammell, very, very good fighter. He was a heavyweight. Bobby Yeager, Freddie Flores, Bob Huffman, was a flashy lightweight. Freddie Flores was a middleweight. He fought Sugar Ray Robinson. Robinson took him to school. Ozzie Harris was a middleweight from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Bojack lightweight. Here you have Eddie Blunt. I know you heard that name before. This is Eddie Blunt. Tommy Martin. Eddie Blunt was a heavyweight. Tommy Martin was a heavyweight as well. This is a dominant fighter also. Jack Buddy Walker. Outstanding heavyweight. Dick Wells, featherweight. Wilson Mackey. Dick Wells. Jimmy Bivens. Jimmy Bivens was part of the Murderous Row. He was a heavyweight. Ernest Cat Robinson. Real slick fighter like a Michael Nunn. Lem Franklin, very good heavyweight. Howard Usher, Japanese fighter. Teddy Milt. I think I'm showing you guys this too fast. Powell Silvers. Manuel Lee Murphy. Young Byron. He was a welterweight. Billy Banks, featherweight. Look at it overall. I'm going to show you got a whole page, then I'll go in. All right, here, my favorite Murderers Row fighter, Holman Williams. He fought Charlie Burley several times. Fought everybody back at that time. He even fought Jake LaMotta, Buddy Millard, Lloyd Hankley, Lloyd Marshall, light heavyweight Murderers Row fighter, Georgie Pace, bantamweight title. Held that title in 1939, 1940. Coco Kid, Murderers Row welterweight. Phenomenal fighter. Tampa Red Burns. Young Polite, New Orleans. Take it over here. We got Dick Turpin. We talked about him. That was Randy Turpin's brother. Artur Godoy from Chile. Jim Howell, heavyweight. Kid Tanner, very good bantamweight. Elsa Thompson, I heard he was a hard puncher. I haven't seen any of his fights. A lot of these guys I'm showing you, I have reel-to-reels on them that I'm not going to release. You'll never find it on YouTube. Not going to happen. Ray Price, very good fighter. This is Cisco Escobar, outstanding Puerto Rican fighter. I talked about Manuel Ortiz the other day. And those were the two idols of Puerto Rico. Luisa Beetle, American heavyweight. Eugene Freeman, Lefty Flynn. Now these books go on and on and on. This is about 500 pages, just this book alone. Tom Parker. Tom Parker was a lightweight. Phenomenal fighters, I'll tell you. Herman Graves, lightweight. Cyclone Lynch, heavyweight. Eddie Blunt, heavyweight. Otis Thompson, heavyweight. Tommy Hawes, welterweight. Billy Adams, very good middleweight. Let's continue. Jose Pesoro. He was a very good middleweight. He fought Sugar Ray Robinson. Al Gaynor, heavyweight. Fought them all in the 40s and the 50s. Mostly in the 1940s. Henry Wacker, heavyweight. So you can see him. Odell Polife, heavyweight. Simon Chavez, very good fighter. It's a featherweight. Kyle Turner, welterweight. And this continues. Cleo Shane, lightweight. Ray Brown, lightweight. Clint Conway, heavyweight. Jackie Cooper, welterweight. There's a set of twins here, Stanley and Sanford Tucker. They were both lightweight twins. Ike Williams, lightweight, from Trenton. Coolidge Miller, very good middleweight. Stanton Thompson, Charlie Lewis, lightweight heavyweight. Carl Buddy Farrell, I have a good poster of him, real good picture, welterweight. Ray Brown, heavyweight. All right, we're going to get away from this book. I have another 90, probably 90 pages of this book. African American Fighters. Let's go to another book. And I want you to remember this name because I'm going to be talking about him at some point. This right here is Danny Cox. He was a light heavyweight. All right, I'm going to talk about him at another time. But just so you see what he looked like, that's Danny Cox. You're not going to find him nowhere. This is Buddy Miller, Catfish Robinson, Jackie Wilson, and Bo Jack. Outstanding fighters. I'm just going to scan through this real quick, and then I'm going to take you somewhere else. Gene Johnson, Wendell Washington, Hank Casey, Willie Russell. Now I'm going to show you this fighter real quick. Take a quick look. His name is Wildcat Langford. You're not going to find him in any other book. All right, heavyweight. You got Eddie Manchin. Heavyweight. Norman Letcher. Heavyweight. Willie Richardson. Heavyweight. Steve Grant. Heavyweight. Cassius Clay. Who was Muhammad Ali? He was Muhammad Ali at that picture there. Coley Wallace. Heavyweight. The only man to defeat Rocky Marciano in the amateurs. Congo Kamara. This is Al Ford, heavyweight. Charlie Cato, very good middleweight. The Mexican slasher, as you can see there. Eddie Cotton. Eddie Cotton will one day be a referee. He refereed the Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis fight. This is Eddie Cotton. He was a light heavyweight. Sugar Ramos. A very, very good fighter. Flash Tour. Henry Hank. Middleweight. Ethel Collins, heavyweight. Reuben Hurricane Carter, middleweight. Benny Briscoe, middleweight from Philadelphia. Here you have Eddie Booker, California middleweight, part of the Murderers Row. Raton Macias had a very good fight with Billy Peacock. Charlie Riley had some good fights with Sandy Sadler. You have Davey Moore, unfortunately, he died in the ring. Virgil Akins, welterweight champion. Georgie Benton, middleweight. Georgie Benton was in the corner of Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, not of the greats. Rocky Lockridge. Here you have Earl Turner, welterweight, very good fighter. Lem Thomas, lightweight. Frank Buford, I talked about him. Leonard Morrow, I talked about him. He's a welterweight. Frank Buford was a heavyweight. Johnny Duke. Here you have Tony Anthony. I talked about him the other day. He fought Archie Moore. Title defense. Couldn't handle the power and the pressure of Archie Moore. Alonzo Johnson. Light heavyweight. All these are light heavyweights. Alonzo Johnson wound up going to heavyweight, fought Muhammad Ali. Eddie Perkins. So I'm getting a little tired, so I'm going to end this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Salute to my subscribers. Peace.